Welcome back to Couture Construction. I'm your host, Andrew Denny, and you're listening to Season 11, The Art of Storytelling and Design. This season celebrates the narratives behind the spaces we create, the inspirations, the challenges, the collaborators, and the creative convictions that shape the final outcome. Today's episode highlights a powerful story in our own Nashville design community. BRANDid Interior Design, a woman-owned studio redefining what holistic design can look like. BRANDid brings together architectural level documentation, interior design, visualization tools, emotional intelligence, and storytelling to create environments that are both deeply intentional and beautifully complete. Founded in 2015, BRANDid offers something rare, a fully cohesive model that blends the artistry of interiors with the precision of architectural collaboration, full construction documentation, codes analysis, 3D visualization, and construction administration. Their approach is concept-driven, inclusive, and rooted in the belief that design should carry a psychological and emotional thread through the smallest detail to the full experience. I'm thrilled to welcome Malee Ann Cherry, owner and principal designer, whose background spans film, art, and world-class hospitality design, and KatieRose Berry, associate interior designer, whose passion for creating spaces that enrich daily life informs every project she touches. Together, they are a testament to the power of women leading in design, not just creating beautiful work, but building a new model for how design firms can operate, collaborate, and tell meaningful stories. Malee, KatieRose, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's start before we dive into the design stuff. Tell me a little bit about who's Malee and who's KatieRose.
Well, I grew up here in Nashville, in the Madison area. So, pretty much lived here until I was about 14. Went to film school, like you mentioned. And by my senior year of film school, discovered that I didn't want to be doing film. I mean, it was just kind of like you do an internship, you work on an internship, and that wasn't my direction. So a little bit later on in life, I was inspired by a company called Rockwell Group and decided to go back to school and get a degree in interior design.
Cool.
And fortunately, I went to a school, Parsons, in New York, that was not too far from Rockwell Group, and they're actually affiliated with Rockwell. So I got to work at Rockwell, and which was amazing. And later on, got to work at Tahani Design, which is a smaller outfit in New York. So all hospitality design, really cool. And my family had moved back to Nashville since then. So, wanted to be near family as my dad actually got sick. Wanted to be around them and stayed here.
Oh, wow.
So, worked at architectural firms here for about 10 years and decided to do my own thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Impressive background.
Yeah.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah, I have to follow that now.
Yeah, KatieRose, go for it.
I'm KatieRose. I'm from the Midwest, moved around a little bit, place to place. And then I heard about O'Moore College of Design, which is now, I believe it's called O'Moore School of Design and Architecture at Belmont. But I heard about O'Moore and actually from a fashion student that I knew and checked it out and really fell in love with it, fell in love with Franklin, and that's what brought me here. So I came to O'Moore, transferred. I was already at college, transferred, and just finished my interior design degree. And I stayed just because I loved Nashville. It really was the right place, right time. So after that, I worked for a small residential firm in Franklin, and I really enjoyed residential projects. After that, I came on to BRANDid Interior Design, and I've been doing mostly residential with Malee since then, about 5 years.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, welcome to you both. Really excited to have you here. So, Malee, film school, New York City, entrepreneur. This season has been all about storytelling. How have those past experiences helped shape how you tell stories through design?
Well, I mean, one of the neat things about being in film school, I actually wanted to be a music video director.
Oh, cool.
90s,
Yeah, MTV,
really cool.
VH1.
MTV. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I loved it. And, at first, I loved drawing. I wanted to be in fine arts first, painting, drawing. But then I knew I had to make money. So I thought film was the way to go. I'd read comic books when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
So storyboarding came really easy for me. So when you storyboard, I mean, you've got these different frames that you have to imagine not only what the audience looks at, but also how can you film that? If you're on a dolly or if you've got a camera, how do you walk backwards? All of the things. So you start kind of in this one picture, start to build an entire story around this frame. So it's the same thing that kind of translates with interior design and the experience, not only for the customer or, person who's coming to the space, but also the people that work there. How is it easy for them to navigate a space? So it's really the same kind of aspect or story of that one frame. So that's kind of how I got into interior design. I mean, Rockwell Group, they made this book called Pleasure, early 2000s, I want to say. And that was their story. Like, what if you did this? What if you did that? Why are there parameters to doing things? And that was what was so freeing about working in New York, is that you had a bunch of these creative people there. And it was like, how far can we stretch it?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you worked on some really cool hospitality projects. Like, to me, hospitality sets the bar for interior design.
Yeah.
And, it's transportive. It's just really imaginative. Can you share with us just some of those projects that shaped who you are and what BRANDid is today?
Yeah. I mean, there was this one project, I mentioned Tahani Design. We had worked on the Celebrity Solstice cruise ships.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, that was just another level of you got to make sure things float, and the pendant lights can't move. And, through this whole process, you're learning about, codes and cruise ships. And but, that was really neat because on a cruise ship, you've got all of these different types of experiences. It was the specific restaurant we were working on was a restaurant inside of the cruise ship. We did all of the spaces, but it was neat to be able to tell a story about Japanese culture. Like dive into, and sometimes with the clients, every client wants something different. And, you've just got to ask more and more questions and to know what they want and to know what their story is. And it's really fascinating from one client to the next how that story can change, because we don't come up with a story. They really come up with a story, and we kind of just pull it out from them. So yeah.
So how is that? So fast forward, that's how to be impactful. KatieRose, share with me, like, what have you gleaned on storytelling and interior design, working with Malee and being, a younger version? How has that impacted you?
Yeah, I think Malee has really established a certain structure to the company with storytelling kind of at the core. And so from the very beginning of when we work with a client, like she mentioned, we ask a lot of questions, a lot. And I think that's something that does separate us from other firms or designers who just want to do their own thing and they have their way that they're used to doing things. But we really go deep with questions, and we get that story from the client and what their concept is. And we start with visual imagery to define what that concept is so that we're all speaking the same language visually. And then we basically create a presentation that we always go back to so that if we get fuzzy down the road or it's been 2 years in the process of a project, we always have that visual to come back to. And maybe that's some of your
kind of that baseline foundation.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe that's even where some of your storyboarding, has come into play too, into what you do now. But so I think Malee has definitely taught me a certain structure of doing things and why we do things, and how one thing always leads to the other to help us in the process.
Yeah, how very cool. How very cool. Yeah. Well, I've also got to share, like, it's interesting for me, just going back and, the intro, you guys focus on codes, on the construction documents, on the drawings. How do you use those, restrictions to help share the story as well? Because obviously you've got to have those things, right?
Yeah.
But they are a governor to what's possible, just like you experienced with cruise ship.
Yeah.
So how does that draw more story out? And by the way, that's pretty unique that you guys do that. And that always means you're, when you can bring those kind of architectural elements, I'm always impressed by that with design, because those documents are hard to do and expensive.
Yeah. We're always learning.
Mm-hmm.
And, props to architectural firms that I've worked with before. We weren't just, your typical interior designers picking finishes. They wanted more from us when it came to like critical thinking. Like, we actually had to open a codes book.
Mm-hmm.
We had to understand what we were looking at. We had to go to Howard School is where the plans examiners are, and ask them questions and why do they think it should be interpreted this way. So all of those things are super important, and just interior designers in general understanding, well, if we want a recessed paper towel dispenser, this wall has to be this thick.
Yeah.
And it's a fire rated wall, so maybe it needs to be thicker, all of the things. And so it just makes us better at what we do, and better at communicating to architects, to our engineers. It's really fun once you have a dialogue with them and you guys are on the same level. It's not us telling them, you need to do it this way, or it has to look a certain way in order for, all of those things. We're really listening to what everybody has to say and having our input. It's a true back and forth. So we really do like to do that. And when it comes to things like residential design, and a lot of times our clients are like, we like, this Instagram, let's do this. We try to back it up, and kind of like Katie was saying, we try to make this playbook essentially of, okay, let's stick with this style that you like, that you're in love with. But all of the little trends that come back and forth, we're still asking them questions, but we also ask them, is this your forever home, or are you going to live here for 5 years and then you're going to leave? The reason why that's important is if that's going to be their forever home, well, will they have to have a wheelchair, or they're going to be injured? Yeah. Are they going to need grab bars in the future? So we'll put blocking in the wall right now while you're, 30, 40 years old. But, 40 years later, we might need to put that grab bar in there. And so we try to think toward, so that's why we ask a lot of questions, is because we want to make sure that they're taken care of throughout the life of their home, and not just for right now and what's trending right now.
Yeah. Very thoughtful and intentional.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
I kind of what I said a second ago, we ask a lot of questions, and at least where I've worked before, it wasn't like that. It was kind of like, well, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to present to the client. Whereas we ask what sometimes feels, I hope not invasive to the client, but it's like, I think sometimes they're surprised at some of the things we ask, but they're never disappointed. They always end up understanding, because it's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that, or, oh, wow, that's a great idea. And they see that we're asking for really good reason.
What's the most invasive question you guys ask?
There's a lot of
we get down to like So I'll preface that most of anything I answer is from the residential perspective because that's what I work on mostly, which would be very different answers probably than the commercial projects. But I'm asking, like, what is your bathing routine? Like, if we're doing a bathtub
once a week
in this niche, you know, if I'm designing this tub and like, what does that process look like for you? How many towels do you go through? Down to things like that. And sometimes it's kind of like, what? And, but it's always for good reason. We're trying to plan as much as possible.
So, you know, you all are, you know, you tell storytelling through design, but you really have to draw out your client's story to form that story. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty unique thing. And then you take it and you're able to really give them the kind of the best life based on a life they're already living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's really neat.
We try to be as sustainable as possible. We want things to last. We don't want things to be, you know, super trendy. We want to see what they like about a certain image or a destination. How did it make you feel when you went there? You know, all of those things. We want to make sure that it looks effortless to them. It feels effortless. So, we definitely do try to get into their heads.
Yeah. You had mentioned earlier, you know, working with the architects and engineers. How important is it that they understand the story you're trying to convey through the interior design? It's
important in that, like, light switches, you know. A lot of times it's in there. We read their drawings too. And a lot of times you'll see their generic notes. We have generic notes of, you know, it's a white cover plate. And it's like, well, that's not going to work on a black wall, you know? And so a lot of times we'll kind of give them a preface, but it's more on us to be able to read through what they have, talk to them, have you know, whether it's in person or Zoom meetings with them, going through the drawings, explaining, they'll get it. But it's really just us being able to communicate with them and being able to read the drawings. I didn't know how to read the drawings when I first started at an architectural firm. It was just like words, you know? But then the first thing gets built and you're like, oh, I didn't want that.
That matters. Yeah. The more that you work with other trades, the more you know what questions to ask each other. And so they have better questions to ask for us and we have better questions to ask for them.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, that's a good segue. So, you know, you guys have a diverse set of types of clients, from community space to commercial to hospitality to residential. How do you jump between those, still pulling that common thread of this need to know? Because, you know, and maybe before we even get there, maybe share a little bit of the difference between pulling that story out between residence and commercial.
I can speak to the commercial side. So she's our head of residential. And I work mainly on commercial projects. And, you know, I feel like with residential, of course, it's more personal. You're there every day. Like, I did the tiling in my bathroom and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I just hire someone? But I feel like with commercial, it's just, I shouldn't say less personal. It's personal to the people that work into the space. But it's different in that, you know, again, you can pick something and I feel like they have more confidence in what you select because they don't want to be the one to give the final say on that. So they give a little bit more trust into what you do. Whereas residential, it's kind of, I feel like it's like, well, I know what I like and I don't like that. You know, it's a little bit harder for me personally, just because I've got that kind of computer mind where I'm like, you know, asking questions. And so for residential, it's great that I have Katie doing that, because she's so patient and there's a lot of give and take. And I tend to be kind of like on that Gantt chart, you know, but it works well in commercial with developers and architects. Residential, it's nice that there's able to be time. There's always time, I feel like, in residential, until they want to move in.
And you're working, yes, exactly. Until there's not time.
Yeah.
Until there's Thanksgiving with 13 people coming.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's always the Thanksgiving. KatieRose, you know, hearing that, doesn't it make you want to work in commercial? No, I'm kidding. But it is. There's like that's a very interesting. And we've done this podcast a long time, and we haven't really talked a ton about commercial design. So I'm going to get back to that here in a second. But you have the responsibility of working with novices. Okay, that know what pretty is, know what they want. They want a beautiful home, et cetera, where Malee, you're working with professionals. So there's a big gap. You deal with a lot of ideation, where you probably deal with a lot less ideation, because the group of people you're working with are like, no, we can't do that. That they already know, you know, that's going to be either too expensive, undoable, you know, too long, like all of those things. So you guys are starting with a head start. You're working with, you know, people that saw something on Instagram that thought they loved it. And what they don't realize is a lot of things, like of what it takes to do that, from an expense, from a craft, from
always money.
Material availability. I mean, anything can be done, but it's what does it cost? Very interesting.
Yes, very different.
Yeah, very different. Well, I think you should just remind Malee of that, you know, anytime there's a deadline. Yeah.
I think she knows. I think she's very happy to let me
obviously, that's why she works on this side of the business.
That's right.
She definitely knows.
It's, you know, it depends on the personalities that you have, too. I mean, we always start when we meet anyone, commercial, residential, we meet with them. There's no charge, of course, because it has to be our personalities, too, that meld. And there are some residential clients that love working with her just because she's calm and collected. And there are some commercial clients that like working with me because I know what it takes to get it done. And I know how to make, or not how to make, but how to make sure everybody's happy, on budget, on time, still looks good, and nobody goes away, you know, throwing somebody under the bus. Nobody's talking crap about anybody else, and that just feels good when you go home. And I want to make sure it feels like that. I want to have those same engineers, architects, clients for another project.
Yeah, be happy when they say, "Oh, Malee with BRANDid is the designer on this." Oh, great.
Yeah.
My life just got a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why we work in Revit. You know, it's 3D. We can work with engineers. We can see the supplier. We can see if there's something wrong in 3D, if something's coming over on top of each other. Architects, too, it's seamless. We can ask each other questions. It's not, here's your drawings and here are my drawings. It's together. And we speak in the same language. We all sketch. I mean, it makes it truly easy to work with each other.
Very cool. So how do you approach commercial projects? And, you know, where do you start with or maybe where do you stop with form versus function? Like, it's what comes first in commercial design?
We actually approach residential very similar.
Okay.
We, you know, go visit whoever. One of our first projects was cute little shop, Caliber Coffee in Donaldson.
Oh, cool.
And you know, their biggest thing was just getting into the space. They had the vision on their own. They had the idea. They had the logo, fonts, and everything. And they were looking at this space that was back off of a side road. And like first coffee shop in Donaldson, and you're off to the side. You know, they haven't signed the lease. So on that project, we actually talked to them about locations. Where should you go? You know, coffee shop, if you're driving to work, are you inbound?
Yeah.
You know, can you be inbound? They got an outbound, but they have a drive-through. I mean, so much better than that little spot that they were going to go into. But just, I mean, from the very beginning, before there's a space, let's talk about where you need to be and where do you want to be. And convenience, how do people get there? But then we start talking to them, kind of like Katie was saying, through pictures. Your idea of simple is different than my idea of simple. And so we, you know, whether it's Houzz, Pinterest, Dropbox, just give us pictures, take pictures of them. Tell us about a space. I like Restoration Hardware. I love their showroom. Okay, that's a starting point. So we go there. And so we take these little steps because they're meaningful. We're not just the designers. They're the designers too. It's their story. So we've got to make sure that it's all cohesive. And then we hit that and we say, okay, does this playbook look like what you want? Good. We're going to stick with that. We're going to keep going with it. When we're all the way down at Ving and you can't afford those doorknobs, let's just not pick something that's pretty. What does that design, that playbook have? So yeah, that's what we do with commercial too. We kind of start off there. With commercial, it's nice because you have a little bit of flexibility. So Franklin City Hall is a project we're working on, and you can help come up with that story. So, you know, Franklin gives a good basis. I mean, I learned a lot about Franklin and going through its history. And we've got people on from Franklin City Hall that are part of the historic preservation team. So it's really neat to hear some of those stories and, you know, what kind of colonial style is it? Is it Greek? Is it federal? Like, you know, let's pinpoint where this design comes from so we can actually bring in elements from that period, but also make it feel like downtown Franklin. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but we try to pinpoint a direction and keep going in that direction on both residential and commercial.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. KatieRose, do you ever get the opportunity to step into commercial or?
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously I guess maybe as a smaller office, we all have to jump in and help as needed. So even though I do most of the residential, which is the lane that I want to be in and like to be in, it can be really refreshing at times to pop on over and work on Franklin City Hall and help with some of those things that can make it feel more residential or homey or cozy. So yeah, it's nice to do that every now and then. And just, you know, if you've been doing residential projects for 2 years straight, a commercial project might sound really fun every now and then.
I bet.
Yeah.
How do you get a job like Franklin City Hall? Like, how does that come to be? Is that a bid process? Is it a submittal? Okay.
Yeah, it was an RFQ. We tried to make a lot of connections. We try to keep the friends that we've had over the years, and OHM Advisors is an architectural firm here in Nashville. They're engineering and architectural, and they had done a lot of civil projects. I had worked with the previous director of architecture, and so we started talking about that project, and Studio 8 Design is the architect of record. And so that's pretty much how I got into it. They invited me to be a part of the project. I'm a registered interior designer with the state of Tennessee, and have worked on civil projects before. So, you know, you're in the business for long enough, you kind of touch everything, especially in the commercial world. And it's actually something I really like to do. You know, hospitality is great, you know, it's fun. But, you know, you start thinking about education and how children learn and how they experience the space. You know, we used to put VCT on the floors in classrooms, which is very loud and active, but it's cheap. And then you start
And cleanable.
It's cleanable. You get that machine out.
I've sold a lot of VCT in my day.
We do not have VCT in our office anymore, thankfully.
They're the easiest little sample sets, though.
Oh, I'm sure. They snap really easily,
yes,
too.
they did. Yeah. Yeah. Or you could use them like little mini Frisbees.
That's right. Oh, my gosh. Just don't sniff them too long. But, you put carpet down in a classroom, and then all of a sudden that noise comes down.
Yep.
The kids are calmer. Things like that. It's fun to learn. I did a senior living community where you learn about, the seats got to be higher. Somebody's got to be able to prop themselves up. And, I work with my church a lot and having a lot of friends there that are elderly. It's always neat to learn about how you can make things better for other people that use a space. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but
well, no, but I think yes, it did. And but I think that what I'm sitting here just realizing is, we talk about interior design on this podcast, and it's very focused on residential. And I often talk about our just on the previous one. And for any of our listeners, you walk into a Twice Dailies and they're beautiful now, right? And they flow and they're easy to navigate. And as opposed to there being a cash register, there's these like pods that you can just go up to. All of that is interior design. But as you just shared, senior living, schools, I hadn't thought one bit about interior design in schools, with the exception of seeing like an Ensworth or, a really beautiful private school. But all of that matters. That's a really interesting thing. And I bet you similar to what we've seen in residences, which is what your Pinterest and, Instagram really highlight. I bet you across the board, we've seen advancements in all of those spaces over the last 10 years that we wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And they all have individual needs and technical needs that interior designers have to navigate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, crazy things, too. I mean, we didn't have to think about having a safe place for children if there was a mass shooting event happening. I mean, we're doing that now at schools. It's like, how do you lock the doors? How do you protect the walls? I mean, all of those
they're
things.
Covering on the glass that, all of those things.
Yeah. How do we learn from certain events that have happened? And same thing with, we've done police departments too. So,
police departments have interior design.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I never would have that never would have occurred to me.
Yeah. I mean, ideally.
What we don't know always amazes me.
Did you know that the state of Tennessee has interior designers?
No, but it makes total sense.
Yeah.
They design DMVs and any kind of civic. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, there's not a lot of money going into those. But yeah, even the state has interior designers.
That is awesome. No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense. It's the way we live and move.
Yes. And you can have just a builder on a home, or you can have just an architect on a police department, but you're going to gain so much more if you have an interior designer on the project. Immensely.
Yeah, the exact same. Look, if residence is the easiest place to see that, of course it has to backflow. You can just have a builder. You'll definitely end up with probably a pretty home, but a very livable, personal home, you need an interior designer.
Yeah, I'm really tired. I'm just going to get on a soapbox for a second.
Please do.
I'm really tired of hearing custom home, custom home, custom home. And they're just not.
No.
They're not at all custom to the client. And they're basically a spec home. And I just think
custom home has lost. And of course, working in the industry, like I know to me, a custom home is one that has a team from the beginning: landscape architect, interior designer, architect, and builder.
It should not look like the house 2 doors down.
That's right. That are all working on a very individual project. And it's usually 3 years. Like and that's probably pushing it even a little bit from a time frame, but it's all about that client, the end user, and that
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times now, custom home means you're the first owner. And that's
or
and
you
that's
get,
not,
you get to pick your countertop out of 5 choices, and it's a custom home.
Yeah. Well, I definitely don't disagree with that. So share with me a little bit about what it took to get here. I know that you guys have this great firm, obviously women led. You have an impressive resume that started with, film, and then getting to work at some great firms and getting exposure. You started BRANDid in 2017, 2015.
Yeah.
So what has it been like to build the business, and where are you guys headed?
It's been good. A lot of our clients come from relationships that we've had, which has been wonderful. I mean, again, we like to learn from everybody that we work with. So this process, having a business, has been a learning process too. I definitely, filing paperwork and doing numbers is not what I ideally would like to do. I'd like to do the design, but that's been a learning experience for me. And I think that's why I left, the firms that I was with before. I wanted to have a little bit more control. I wanted to learn more. And I felt like at firms there was this cap. Like, you do this forever now.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do more. And a lot of architectural firms, they don't do furniture procurement. They do the interior architecture and they stop there, and then they hand it off to an interior design or decorating firm, and they kind of fill it in. I wanted to do all of it. And so it's been a learning experience for me. So in 2021, that's when I brought Katie on board. Because one, I needed help. There's a lot. And I still wanted to learn. And she's part of that learning experience for me too, is having an employee and then having employees and what works, what doesn't work. So that's been fun. And at the same time, Nashville has changed too. In the last 10 years, just amazing growth. Which I think forced the entire architecture and interior design industry to grow. I used to design things in some of these firms and hear, oh, what is that? Oh, it's a neat product that we saw from whatever. We don't want to be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the first one to do this. And now it's forcing them to actually expand their design. I mean, trust their designers and say, let's do this, let's talk about how we can make this happen. And so design is starting to grow a little bit more in Nashville, which I really appreciate. So, but for the future, I mean, of course, interior design. I'm looking at certain properties of potentially purchasing so we could do our own interior design there too. But, I think for me, just learning. I want to keep learning. How can we keep pushing? That's been a consistent in my life. And then also at the same time, the employees that we have at the office, just trusting their skills and collaboration. I'm always like, what do you guys think? I'm never that person. It's like, you're gonna do this. I'm like, tell me what you think. What have you done before? And just the collaboration through internal, external, and then learning.
Very cool.
Yeah.
KatieRose, what's it been like being part of this journey? And did you kind of start the residential side when you joined, or was it already existing?
It was existing. Malee had definitely done some projects, but it just, she enjoys the commercial side more. So when I came on, knowing that really my only experience at that time was residential, which is just, it was kind of funny because she threw me into a few commercial projects and I was like, what's
what
plastic laminate? Yeah. I barely remember that from school. Anyway, so once I came on board, we definitely just started taking on more residential. So that's how that happened. And what was your question before that?
Just how you've enjoyed seeing the firm evolve.
Yeah. Well, just it's an interesting position to be the first employee somewhere, right? And I'm going on, like I said, I think it was like 5 years or going into 6 years, something like that. So, which I feel like in today's day and age,
it's pretty good.
People don't stay places very long. So it's a really interesting perspective. And I've just been there to watch everything play out. And I think especially having more employees come on has been so interesting and something I've really enjoyed. I like the dynamic of having more people in the office and that kind of thing. So I've watched Malee go through a lot of these learning curves and hopefully, and I think been a sounding board to kind of help in all that too. Because it's a lot to start a business and then start hiring people. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, trust me, it is. So, final topic. Okay. You guys use some really cool technology, and obviously you both are trained in interior design, but what is like the crossover? Like, are you using 3D renderings in residential? Obviously you're using them in commercial. Like, share with me the tools that you're using that crossover into both commercial and residential that help you guys get the best out of the project.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like residential, it's been super helpful. I mean, again, a lot of people who haven't built anything before. Looking at a floor plan is abstract. They're just lines. And so, I mean, we've had specific people hire us just because we could do 3D.
Oh, wow.
And not just SketchUp. They're like, I want to see it rendered, which is like a love-hate relationship for us. When it's rendered, they're like, that's how it's going to look. A lot of times it will look like that. But they're just like, there's no wiggle room sometimes when it's hyper-realistic. But a lot of times we'll use like SketchUp, which is kind of like a cartoony 3D version of it, which still is loose enough so we can explain like, that's not going to be your real table. You know, your real table is going to be this actual table. But it's been super helpful in residential, and I mean, use it very frequently.
I do. Every client is different in what's helpful to them, and some clients they're great at reading plans. They really get it. Some clients, I was just thinking about one of our clients today, and I don't know that they've even looked at their plans, like their construction documents. I don't think so. I think they really, really rely on the 3D. And we're learning as technology changes how to let it help us and where we want to be in control of it. Because sometimes it feels like when the client gets used to seeing things, they're like, oh, that's easy. You can just show me that, right? And it's like, oh yeah, it's super, super easy. It doesn't take any time at all. So with technology just changing so much, it's something we try to stay on top of. But yeah, 3D is really helpful, but we try to be very conscious of it being too helpful sometimes, because we want to maintain control and just always have the client go back to trusting us. Yeah. Instead of needing to see every single little tiny thing to get trust that way. So then they can see it and then be like, oh, that's what it's going to look like. We really want them to always come back and trust us.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, at the end of the day, what you want people to pay for.
Yeah, like, exactly.
You've pulled the story. Now let me build it. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this has been a neat conversation, and I really do appreciate you exposing us to some of the commercial world. I think that is something that is underserved, but quite honestly, it's more plentiful from a design perspective than anything else, whether it be hospitality design, whether it be senior living, school. I mean, anything and everything has design need behind it. So that's really cool. So, but now we're going to move on to rapid fire. KatieRose, let's start with you. Your go-to comfort meal. I
think it would be anything with mac and cheese or pizza. I mean, I've loved mac and cheese since I was little.
Me too.
Still do.
Yeah, me too. I had some last night.
Yeah.
Malee, what's your go-to comfort meal?
Oh my God. Jets pizza.
There you go.
Corner pizza. I can't have it all the time. It's super rich. But yeah, it's great.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Back to you, KatieRose. What word best describes your mindset as we move into 2026?
Okay, I'm not going to be able to say one word, but I'll succinctly say I think just being able to take things with peace and contentment and acceptance. I'm about to have a second child, and so
Congratulations.
just trying to prepare for that and not be overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. No, that's great. Malee, what's your word going into 2026?
I think it's along the same. I'm stealing it. Like
Sure.
a piece.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot of things happening. A lot of people don't do active listening,
Mhm.
and we have to do it. We actually have to practice it. We're just not shoving like our design down somebody's throat. So just being calm, peaceful, listening. That's more than one word. But yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I like both of those. Okay. One creative habit or ritual you want to keep or start this year in 26.
Mm-hmm. I can answer.
Well, you're both going to answer.
Okay.
You answer
This isn't that exciting, but there are just some days, I don't know if either of you, I'm sure both of you have felt this before being creative people, but there's just some days where my mind is running with ideas.
Mhm.
It's like it's on overdrive, or I don't know if you've literally woken up with the most random idea that
Oh,
like in that like
most days.
half sleep, half awake
Mhm.
state where things just randomly come to you. I will be thinking about projects.
Mhm.
It's weird. But this year I did start practicing just getting it out of my head onto a notebook. And whether, it really helps to just get it out. And whether it becomes anything or it doesn't, I don't really care. I just think it's good to let that energy become tactile.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I'd like to keep doing that.
I think that's smart. And like journaling, essentially.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with sketching, with drawing.
Yeah. Malee, what is the ritual you want to either start or continue in 26?
I gotta burn off that Jets pizza, man. Jumping on the Peloton more often. But I agree with her. The journaling too helps. I did something called the 5-minute journal. Have you heard of that? It's like a gratitude journal. It's like you spend 5 minutes in the morning writing 3 things you're grateful for, and then right before you go to bed, 5 things you're grateful for. And I did that after a terrible point in my life, 2020. And you find yourself unconsciously like somebody's nice to you, and in your head you're like, I'm so grateful for that person.
Yeah.
You start just doing these things and finding it in your life, and so the 5-minute journal is definitely something I think somebody should work through the entire book and just see how it makes them better people.
Yeah, that's cool. No, gratitude. It's a powerful one.
Yeah.
Okay. KatieRose, finish this sentence. Good design should always feel
Effortless.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Malee?
That was mine too.
Oh, well, KatieRose, you stole your boss's thunder.
I really think that if any designer actually had time to think about the answer to that, that's what they would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think so.
Yeah. You walk into a space.
Yeah.
You're like, it looks like it was always like this. So.
Okay, you going to go with effortless as well?
I am.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's it. Well, Malee and KatieRose, thank you both for such an inspiring conversation. Your work reminds us that great design is never just aesthetic. It's conceptual, emotional, technical, and deeply human. And when those elements come together, the story becomes unforgettable. Up next on Couture Construction, we continue our storytelling series with episode 148, Origin Stories, the why behind the work, featuring Julia and Matt Ryan, the duo behind the soon-to-launch platform Design Proper. We explore how vision becomes narrative, how designers can share their work with authenticity, and why storytelling is one of the most powerful tools in the industry today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget, you can watch every episode on Season 11 on YouTube. Follow along on Instagram at Couture Construction for clips, behind-the-scenes moments, and more design storytelling throughout the season. This episode was produced by Cast Collective and Chelsea Rand. Until next time, keep cultivating creativity.